Hey everyone, and welcome back to Sip and Talk.
It's great to be back.
I'm so ready to jump into today's deep dive on all the crazy stuff happening around the world.
Let's get into it.
But first, a big shout out to our amazing listeners who are always up for exploring these wild global issues with us.
You guys are the best.
So before we get started, I gotta ask,
What's that?
what are you sipping on today?
Well, thanks to a certain travel vlogger we talked about last time,
Oh, no, you didn't?
I'm actually trying out a new bourbon.
Wait, you finally caved to the Mickey-inspired bourbon craze.
Don't judge.
I knew it!
You know I can't resist a good recommendation,
That's fair enough.
especially when it comes to bourbon.
Okay, let's get down to business.
Sounds good.
First up, we've got those rumors about North Korean troops possibly being sent to Russia.
Yeah, that's definitely a concerning
I
development.
mean, that's a whole new level of uh-oh, right?
It definitely raises some red flags.
So what's the latest?
Well, it hasn't been officially confirmed, but there are reports from NATO, the U.S. Defense Secretary, and even South Korean intelligence suggesting that North Korean troops are already in Russia.
Yeah, there's so much conflicting information floating around.
Exactly.
Some reports say there are thousands of troops, while others mention smaller numbers.
Right. And no one seems to know what they're actually doing in Russia.
Okay, hold on. I read that one American official, they have no clue what those troops will be doing.
Yeah, even though they claim they're there for training.
And what about the Ukrainian intelligence report saying the first batch will be sent to Kursk by November 1st to help Russia fight Ukraine's offensive?
Right, but that hasn't been confirmed either.
Ugh, so many unknowns.
It's a very confusing situation.
But here's the real kicker. If North Korea actually joins the war on Russia's side,
Oh, man.
things could escalate fast.
For sure.
We're talking potential global consequences here.
No doubt about it. This is a situation with a lot of unknowns, and those unknowns can lead to a lot of anxiety on the world stage.
Makes you wonder what North Korea's end game is, right?
Absolutely. What could possibly motivate them to get involved in this mess?
It's definitely something to watch closely.
Couldn't agree more.
Mhm.
But let's shift gears for a moment to something a bit closer to home
This is good.
and maybe a little less intense.
Okay, I'm ready.
The 2024 U.S. presidential election is right around the corner,
Oh yeah, the big showdown.
and things are already starting to heat up.
We've got Trump running for the Republicans, Harris for the Democrats,
Right.
and of course a few independent candidates trying to shake things up.
They always do.
It's already shaping up to be a pretty wild ride.
It certainly is, and you know what's really interesting about this election?
What's that?
Both candidates are running unopposed within their parties.
Wait, really?
Yep, that's not something you see every day.
Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah.
Talk about a unique campaign season. But before we get too deep into the candidates, I think it's important to remind ourselves how the U.S. election system actually works,
It's a good point.
especially that whole electoral college thing.
Oh yeah, that always trips people up.
Remember what happened in 2016?
Like it was yesterday.
Clinton won the popular vote but lost the election because of the electoral college.
It's crazy, right?
It's a complex system, to say the least.
It definitely is. It's not just about who gets the most votes overall. Each state has a certain number of electoral votes based on its population, and a candidate needs at least 270 of those electoral votes to win.
It's enough to make your head spin.
It is. That is interesting. But let's get back to the global stage for a moment.
Okay.
Things are getting tense in the Taiwan Strait,
Yeah, that's not good.
especially after China conducted those military drills around Taiwan.
I remember seeing that on the news. Those drills were definitely a power move.
No kidding. It seemed like a very deliberate show of force.
And they came right after President Lai's National Day speech,
Right?
which China saw as a bit too provocative.
It's almost ironic, isn't it? China claiming Lai's speech undermines peace while they're out there flexing their military muscle?
It really is. The timing is certainly interesting. It definitely raises questions about China's true intentions and what their next move might be.
I agree. It's hard to decipher their true motives.
I mean, how seriously should we be taking all this military posturing?
That's the million-dollar question.
Is China really about to make a move on Taiwan?
It's a possibility we can't ignore.
This is definitely a situation we need to keep a close eye on.
Absolutely. Agreed. There's some breaking news out of the Middle East that could have major ripple effects.
Oh no, what now?
Israel has confirmed the death of Hashem Safieddine, who is seen as Hezbollah's potential successor.
Well, hold up. So this guy, Safieddine, he was basically next in line?
After the previous Hezbollah leader was killed,
In another Israeli airstrike.
you got it. It's like a never-ending cycle.
It is a concerning pattern.
Mm.
And Safieddine wasn't just some figurehead.
No, not at all.
He was a key player in Hezbollah,
Right.
responsible for their military and financial operations.
A major figure in the organization.
His death is a significant blow to Hezbollah.
For sure.
And the timing of this announcement is pretty strange, too.
How so?
It came right as U.S. Secretary of State Blinken was visiting Israel.
Interesting. Makes you wonder if there's some strategic play going on behind the scenes.
It's hard to say for sure, but it's certainly possible.
Yeah.
The bigger question is, what does this assassination mean for the future of the conflict between Israel and Hezbollah?
Yeah, things could escalate quickly.
This is definitely a situation with a lot of unknowns. And speaking of unknowns,
What's that?
remember that amazing YouTube channel we talked about a while back?
Which one?
Mickeytolife.
Oh, yeah, Micky. The one with the hilarious travel stories and cultural insights?
That's the one.
What about him?
Well, apparently, our little shout-out had some unexpected consequences.
Oh, no. What happened?
Our inbox has been flooded with messages from listeners demanding more Micky.
Really?
They want to know what he's been up to, what crazy adventures he's had, and if he's still rocking that infectious laugh.
Wow. It seems we might have accidentally created a few superfans.
You think? It's actually pretty funny how these things happen.
Yeah.
You know, someone even mentioned that you've been getting into bourbon lately.
Oh, you found me out.
All thanks to Mickey's influence.
It's true. His Kentucky bourbon enthusiasm was quite contagious.
Who knew we'd be getting life advice and drink recommendations from a travel vlogger?
It's a wild world we live in.
Right. And speaking of influence,
What about it?
some listeners even jokingly accused us of owing them money because of Micky.
Seriously?
They claim we created a bourbon addiction they never knew they needed.
I guess we're just that persuasive.
Well, I suppose we can't take all the blame. Maybe Micky should send us a commission check.
I'm not complaining. But seriously, this whole Micky to life phenomenon got me thinking.
About what?
Did you notice how he doesn't really introduce himself much on his channel?
You know, I did notice that.
Yeah.
He just kind of jumps right into the fun stuff. Much like we do here.
It's true. It's almost like he's inviting viewers to join him on his journey without any formalities.
Just pure, unadulterated fun.
Exactly. Maybe that's part of his charm. He doesn't overthink it. He just goes for it.
And it clearly resonates with people.
It really does. It does make you wonder if we should shake things up a bit, too.
Like, how?
Do we need a formal introduction? Should we start each episode with a, "Hello world, we're so-and-so"?
Maybe. But then again, I kind of like the casual vibe we have going on.
Me too. It feels more natural.
I feel like we're just chatting with friends over a good drink.
I agree. It's a delicate balance, but it's definitely something to think about, especially as our audience grows.
True. Speaking of, any guesses on how many subscribers Micky has now?
No idea, but I'm sure it's growing rapidly.
Last we heard, he was getting close to that 1,000 mark.
Oh, wow.
And he was talking about changing his subscriber nickname once he hit it,
I remember that he called them his warriors.
but said he'd switch it up after hitting 1,000.
Right. So what do you think it could be?
Honestly, with Micky, it could be anything.
That's true. He's got that unpredictable, playful energy.
Maybe mischief makers?
Ooh, I like that.
Or adventure buddies?
Those are good.
What about fellow sippers?
Fellow sippers. I like it. It ties in nicely with our theme, too.
Who knows? Maybe he's listening and we'll steal that idea.
Micky, if you're out there, you heard it here first.
But in all seriousness, it's pretty inspiring to see someone like Micky creating such a positive and engaging community online. It's a good reminder that even in a world full of negativity, there's always room for laughter, adventure, and genuine connection.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Cheers to that.
Cheers.
You know, it's funny how a simple shout out can have such a big impact. It just goes to show the power of word of mouth, especially when it comes from a genuine place.
Totally. People can spot a fake recommendation a mile away.
Right.
But when you're genuinely excited about something, it's contagious.
Exactly. And it makes you wonder if we should be more intentional about sharing things we love, even if it's just a small YouTube channel or a local coffee shop. Who knows what kind of ripple effect it could create?
Right. Maybe we should start a Sip and Talk Recommends segment where we share our favorite discoveries.
I like that idea. We could highlight hidden gems, local businesses, up-and-coming artists, anything that sparks our interest.
Okay, I'm adding that to our list of potential segments. But for now, let's get back to our regularly scheduled programming, aka the news.
Back to reality.
We were talking about some pretty heavy stuff before we got sidetracked by Micky.
Sure.
Potential North Korean involvement in the Ukraine war, China's military drills near Taiwan, and the assassination of a key Hezbollah figure.
Yeah, those are all pretty weighty topics, and they paint a picture of a world that feels a bit, well, volatile.
Definitely. It's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day headlines and forget about the bigger picture. But these events are all interconnected, and they have the potential to shape the course of history.
That's so true. And it's a good reminder that we can't afford to be passive observers. We need to stay informed, engage in critical thinking, and be active participants in shaping the world we want to live in.
Preach. And it's a good reminder that we should always be mindful of the power of our words, even when we're just chatting with friends.
You know, it's funny how a conversation about global politics and international affairs can lead to a discussion about bourbon and travel vlogging.
That's the beauty of Sip and Talk, my friend. We're all about connecting the dots, even if those dots seem completely random at first glance.
I like that, connecting the dots and finding the unexpected connections in the world around us.
Cheers to that.
Cheers.
Micky, if you're listening, you're welcome.
Couldn't agree more. And you know, it's not just Micky. There are so many creators out there using their platforms to spread joy and inspire others and just make a difference.
Absolutely. And that's something we should all celebrate and support.
Well said. So as we wrap up this episode of Sip and Talk,
Already?
I want to thank you all for joining us on this journey. We've covered a lot of ground today.
We did.
From potential wars to inspiring travel vloggers. And hopefully we've left you with a few things to ponder and a renewed sense of hope for the future.
Cheers to that. And a huge shout out to all our listeners for sticking with us through thick and thin.
Through breaking news and bourbon-fueled tangents.
We appreciate your curiosity, your engagement, and your willingness to sip and talk about the world with us.
Absolutely. And remember, the conversation doesn't end here.
Nope.
We encourage you to continue exploring these topics, to seek out diverse perspectives, and to engage in thoughtful discussions with those around you.
Keep those minds sharp and those glasses full. And be sure to join us next time for another deep dive into the news, the weird, and the wonderful.
Until then, stay curious, stay engaged, and stay thirsty for knowledge.
Cheers, everyone.